Hello everyone. Now, this is a seemingly low quality start of a YouTube channel, especially considering the fact that you're going to be amazed by all of the things I have in store for you guys later. But that's besides the point. This is the start of a YouTube channel that's going to produce a variety of content, and it's going to be some comedic stuff, some serious stuff. But right now, I'm just going to talk to you about the things that have been going on in America and my take of it. Most of it's the shooting of the two unarmed black men, but really black people in the relationship with the police, black or African people and their relationship with the police, and their relationship to this country as a whole. Now, anyone that saw these videos know that there was no real motivation behind the shooting. They're obviously just shot because they were black, and that works. You just have to say it in different words. He seemed threatening, or just make up a lie that the status quo will probably believe, because the status quo is trained to believe that black people are criminals, and for the most part, they're not really challenging that as much as they should, or we wouldn't still be in the system we lived in today. People wouldn't continually be getting shot because they're black. But I want to talk about black and African people's relationship to the system. Now, me personally, I have certain views on this whole country as a whole and what it is. And to be perfectly honest, what America is it's a white settler state. It used to be a British colony. It got its independence, and it just became a white settler state that served the interest of those European settlers, and that's what it continues to be up to this day. I mean, the formula's changed a little bit. I mean, there have been certain movements that have developed that made the status quo question their morality. Some people up top were under fire, but in all honesty, it serves the same purpose. I mean, this whole land was a resource that belonged to someone else. It was the Native American people's land, and they got wiped out. Like 96% of the population got wiped out through violence or disease, or even like economic starvation. You can cite me on the economic starvation thing. I'm not the biggest genius in the world when it comes to history, but I know some basic things. Um, and we were brought here to work as slaves, and our labor basically built the economy. And at this point, we're owed upwards of like $14.3 trillion in reparations. And right now, the police really just serve, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, to basically contain the African community, just basically to contain them, because the majority of the arrests they make are drug related, and the majority of those drug arrests are marijuana related. And when has marijuana ever been a real danger to society? Police say it's a gateway drug. No, well, so is alcohol. Alcohol is a huge gateway drug. A lot of people that are drunk on alcohol will try anything and do anything inside of drugs, like depraved sexual things that they wouldn't normally do if they were sober. So we can't even look at the things in America that are considered crimes as necessarily things that serve as the moral advent of the horizon of the people getting arrested. So yeah, um, police are just there to contain the community by any means necessarily. Was it is what it seems, by making false arrests, by stopping and frisking people to intimidate them, and in worst case scenario, they just get shot and killed on the street. And this was the case with Michael Brown, Alton Sterling, Philando Castile. Something as routine as a traffic stop can turn into basically a murder, a homicide, and oftentimes the police get off. And if things escalate, you know, things escalate, they'll just sort of bribe the family. The states will bribe the family with a few $1 million or a few hundreds of thousands of dollars that don't come out of the funding for the police department. It comes out of the people's taxes. The people's who are being shot by the police and incarcerated, it comes out of their money actually, because it's always the state of Illinois or the city of Chicago gave this black slave black person's family 500,000 $1.3 million. Cops still have tanks. They're still gonna kill somebody's gonna end up dead, tomorrow. Somebody's gonna be dead tomorrow. You know, it's an ongoing cycle because I guess as African people, and I'm not the only one that knows this. This is my take on it. Definitely not the only one that's come to this conclusion. I've learned from a variety of sources that, African people are a group of people that need to basically be contained in America. That's why we have a prison population of upwards of 2 million people, and most of them are African people. And for, drug crimes, and a lot of the time, and there's a good percentage of it, percentage of them are in jail for nothing at all, nothing whatsoever. So really, America works against our interests. It's in America's interests. Really, America is a European settler state's interest for us, for the most part, to be contained and incapacitated. That's why most oftentimes you see like black men getting shot and black men getting in prison, and to a lesser extent women. Yeah. Like it's like 1 in 10 black men will be in prison in his lifetime. 1 in 10 black men is incarcerated in the U.S. and 1 in 100 black women, and most likely it's for a drug crime. That's the only they're only really there to generally speaking arrest people for drugs, because as I said before, they're on the streets. They always want to search people's cars for drugs and weapons. It's just contraband collection and using the presence of that contraband to lock you up for no real reason. In all honesty, and I know I'm not like the most articulate fella in the world. I'm not exactly a Poindexter, but as I said before, this is my take on things. This is something I wanted to get out, so I made this video, and I'm wrapping it up, but not really, because I want to talk about one more thing, talking about our relation to Africa and how Africa's economic starvation sort of strengthens the European nation in Europe and in America, because basically America is a European settler state, because who's wealthy? The people of European descent. They have 20 times the wealth that black people have. They have 20 times the wealth that black people have. A good portion of black people are below the poverty line. And as we can see, there's a lot of poverty in Africa for the most part. There are rich people. It's not as underdeveloped as people would like it to think, but it's not really free. It's dealing with neo-colonialism. It's dealing with parasitism, where all the natural resources in Africa that actually make Africa a valuable continent are going to Europe and America. And by starting proxy wars in Africa and staging coups and things such as that, Europe and America are rich off of Africa's resources. And this is true to a certain extent in the Middle of the East. Israel basically ensures the USA's economic oil interests in America. Israel is a European settler state. state. The original inhabitants of that place are Palestinians, and they apparently they well, it was decided that Jewish Jewish people needed a promise. Jewish people needed a promised land in the Palestine, and they call it Israel. But to be honest, those people that aren't the original Jews that were originally in the Palestine, they're not descended from there. They're just European people that converted to Judaism at some point, probably during the Middle Ages. At some point, probably during the Middle Ages. So they're not descended from those people. Those are just people of European descent that had uh, a conversion at some point in time, and they basically just wiped out all of the Palestinians that lived um in Israel, or really occupied Palestine, and now the Palestinian people are living in abject poverty, and a lot of them have to come here into different countries, and there's a lot of racism in the Palestine. Black people, Eritreans, they get killed in the Palestine all the time by the European Jewish converts. So so and this is all European colonialism, really. It affects our conditions in the US. It affects people's conditions that aren't whites conditions in South America. It affects conditions in the Middle East. European colonialism is everywhere, and the and the real thing is, colonialism is just the ideological racism, white supremacy are just basically ideological underpinnings of colonialism. They're not the real material problem that exists in the world. Because if you're going to challenge somebody on racism, they can always say, "Oh, I'm not racist. You're an asshole. You're the one that's racist. I'm not even thinking about race." But if you or white supremacy, because people automatically just, oh, it's a think of like a really violent skinhead. No, that's just a not white nationalist extremist. White supremacy, racism, they're the ideological underpinning for the European the colonial, i.e., parasitic relationship that Europe has with the rest of the world, and it's fucking it up. It's fucking it up everywhere. It's fucked up over here. Black people keep getting shot, especially black men, but black women go through a lot of pain too. You find a lot of black women dying in prison cells. A lot of black women's husbands are being taken away. Black women go through shit because they're of African descent. And black men go through a lot of shit. And it's really messed up, man. And really fucking sucks. Um, I should leave links, but you can Google the shit I'm saying, to be perfectly honest with you. Um, the African People's Socialist Party, the whole entire Uhuru movement, they're a good resource on this. Chairman Omali Yashitela, look up its speeches on theburningspear.com. Read a book by John Henry Clark. Get the origins of the slave trade. It's real good stuff, folks. Just get online and read some fucked up shit about slavery, and you'll have nightmares and be mad, and you won't want to get up in the morning. That's if you're black. If you're white, you might not believe it. You might be like, this is bullshit. I don't believe this shit. These people need to stop complaining. I learned in history class that George Washington introduced the slaves to fucking Christianity, and every sexual relationship they had with slaves, it wasn't rape, it was fucking consensual. I don't care if she was 10 years old, it's fine, okay? Fuck you. Don't say that shit about the founding father, you son of a bitch. I'm calling the police, they're gonna shoot your ass. No, they're not gonna do that. I don't believe police do those things. You're making me really uncomfortable, man. Stop that shit, okay? Well, I'm gonna see you guys later. It was fun. Yeah, I'm gonna see you guys later. Yup.